tuliyambale ngule, olutalo nga luwedde, tuliyambale ngule, tulivika mu Uganda empya, tuliyambala, engule zimasamasa, olutalo nga luwedde, tuliyambale ngule, tulivika mu Uganda empya. People power, our power, people power. Rahma Juma, come and lead us in prayer.
People power, our power,
people power.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل؟ ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل؟ وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعله كعصف مأكول. Ya Allah, we are requesting you. Please give us energy, give us the strength, as you gave the birds, that for the enemy at the cover, to fight for the cover, which is called Uganda. Amen.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Majima, for that deep prayer. I'm yet to ascertain myself in the Quran, but in our religion, the prayers of the women and the mothers are so quickly received than those of the fathers. I hope it is so also in the Muslim faith. Good morning, Uganda. Good morning to the world. This is the National Unity Platform. We are holding a presser on the ongoing events in the country and to update you on what is happening. This presser will be addressed by the regional deputy presidents who are with us. That will be led by our leader of opposition, Honorable Matthias Vuga, also flanked by our Deputy President, Northern Region, the Omoro giant. Incidentally, all of them were in Omoro. I will also later, it will be Madame Jolie Mugisha, our Deputy President of Western Uganda, and also let me recognize the presence of the Secretary General, David Lewis, who is with us. General Victoria Moses, Deputy Mobilization Eastern Region, Deputy Woman Leader, Rahma Juma, our Lord Councillor Waswa of Rubaga.
People power, our power.
That Waswa always enjoys us so much because he's not among the other prodigals. He is as straight as he looks, and I want to thank you for your stance. Eddie Mutwe today has said that the presser has been taken up. Deputy President Sego and the others. Today the presser has been taken up by the owners of the party. People power, our power. They have said they will enjoy it, and headed by Eddie Mutwe. You're most welcome, everybody. I think of the Mwonge from the Catholic Church.
People power, our power.
Thank you very much. So you're most welcome. We do not have much, and I will also not say much, but probably on the issue of the rising prices of commodities, these prices are going to rise and rise and rise because the government of Uganda, headed by General Tibuhaburwa, they have no interventions whatsoever. They have continued their if you look at the budget, there is going to be an increment still in taxes to the wananchi. That means that we are not going to have the expectations of having these prices go down because even your own purchasing power as a people is going to be affected as a result of the taxes. I'm told now fuel is going to be taxed over 2,000 shillings. And the purchasing power also of Ugandans has not changed. Dependent so much on the remunerations that are given to public servants. It is a shaming that in Tanzania, the public sector, there is an increment of 23.3%, and in Kenya it is 12.3%. But in Kenya it is across all board of all the casual laborers, because they pass the minimum wage. Now here in Uganda we don't have the minimum wage. That means everybody is working at the mercy of their employer. We need to intervene this from a strategic level and a policy level if we are going to have these things come down. What happened to the shilling? When General Museveni came to power in 1986, he changed Uganda's money to have value. Those who had 1 million were given 7,000. What happened now that from his time of 36 years, the shilling has lost the value against the dollar, and yet their intervention was to take the money off Ugandans such that they could benefit. What has brought this inflation? It is something we must look into, but also the utmost corruption by government officials, taking a lot of money and keeping it in their homes without use, has affected so much the liquidity flow in the masses. So they should also look into themselves and stop stealing, but also the profit repatriation, because it is only in Uganda where you work, somebody comes as an investor with no money, his face and color assist him to get whatever he needs to get. He begins making money, and the entire profits accrued from that investment are repatriated without anything working for the people of Uganda. Not anything for social services, educational services, or health services. So our inflation is purely policy. No wonder nobody can come out now to talk about what is happening to our shilling, because you don't have a governor, Bank of Uganda, you don't have the deputy governor. Now, who is supposed to be in charge of your shilling or your economy if you don't have those very, very institutional offices being occupied? But we are under a military dictatorship. I'm told these days General Museveni is is the governor. I don't know if also Janet is the deputy, because these days they share duties. So we need to also push to have these very important offices, at least have those vacancies filled, because the Constitution empowers the Bank of Uganda and the Deputy Bank of Uganda in executing the standard of our shilling. So we cannot put General Museveni on account. After all, he's also occupying the office illegally. I don't want to go any further, but it is upon Ugandans to understand that the government has no intervention, and it will not intervene on our behalf. We only need to work towards ourselves liberating from this bad leadership. Without wasting any time, ladies and gentlemen, let me invite the Secretary General, David Lewis, to come and give us a message.
People power, our power.
People power.
You say that the owners have taken over, but they are speaking like not like the owners. People power,
Our power.
our power.
People power.
Kunga Uganda kunga.
Kunga.
Kunga Kampala kunga.
Kunga.
Kunga Omoro kunga.
Kunga.
Kunga Kamwokya kunga.
Kunga.
People power.
Our power.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deputy President, Madam Deputy President, North and Western, party leaders who are here, members of the press, comrades, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to use very few minutes. There are three main issues why we invited the press for coming. The first one is about Omoro, the reflection therefrom. The second one is the question of commodity prices, and the third one is about our activities as a party moving forward. The first issue is about Omoro or any election whatsoever, because what we have under Museveni and his corrupt regime are not elections, but something else. We went to Omoro, campaigned, did whatever we could. Our candidate, of course, was denied opportunity to campaign fully, because for 2 days, out of 9 days that they were given for campaigns, he was summoned here by the Electoral Commission because they claimed that he had been illegally nominated or something like that. and we went to hit the ground with all our energy. And unfortunately, you all saw what happened. All the RDCs from northern Uganda were deployed in Omoro. And their duty there was not to have an election, but to have a selection of sorts through intimidation, bribery, and other forms of electoral violations. We saw unprecedented levels of bribery. Like we've been saying, the people of Omoro are some of the poorest in the whole world. And the whole night before elections, regime officials went around bribing them with soap and salt and sugar, commodities which are very expensive now. Secondly, on the day of voting, we had, previously they used to say, the opposition is not organized, they don't have polling agents and all that. But they reached polling stations, and by 5 or even 6 a.m., all polling stations were manned by NUP agents. And I want to appreciate the young men and women who braved all those challenges to guard the vote. And so what did the regime decide to do? To arrest them. And in the process, over 60 of our polling agents out of 84 polling stations were picked up, and of course supervisors. We have many of their bond forms. Some were charged with inciting violence, others with all sorts of things. You can imagine, they find someone at the polling station guarding the vote, and they just pick them up. So polling agents and others were arrested, bribery of supervisors. You would find regime agents, the RDC and others, bribing polling electoral commission officials, presiding officers, and all that. And of course, the levels of intimidation for a village population or for a population in a remote area was too much for them. Up to now, we don't have a tally sheet, although we wrote to the Electoral Commission asking them for the tally sheet. Because the votes which they announced, I don't even know where they got them from. Either someone got 14,000 votes, when actually not even 6,000 people voted. The shameless Electoral Commission that we have had the courtesy, the guts, to say that someone got 14,000 votes. So you can imagine, in an election with a record low voter turnout, so the inflation of votes was incredible. And of course, the ferrying of voters from neighboring districts to Omoro to participate in that election. We want to challenge the people who were there, especially the international community. We know that that election was observed by the National Consolidated Forum and others, but we want to challenge the European Union, especially the development partners. If they did not see what happened in other elections, now they had an opportunity firsthand to see what elections are under Museveni. And we have been making calls that you cannot continue associating with a government, with a regime, which has no respect for democracy, for the will of the people. These are the people who say that they had support in Omoro, that NUP could not cross Karuma, but then they had to do the most incredible things in an election. Actually take action and not continue identifying with a government which does not in any way respect democracy and the rule of law. The other topics are going to be spoken about by other leaders, but I'll just say something about our activities continue massively. I want to say that General Museveni and his people, the reason why they are doing these things in elections, you saw what happened in Kayunga, you saw what they did now in Omoro. It is clear to us that their intention is so that the people of Uganda stop even going for elections. They want us to give up on elections. They want us to give up because they know that they do not have the support of the people whatsoever. The bad news that we want to give them as NUP is that we shall not give up going to our people.
Equal power. Equal power. Power.
If they think that by doing what they are doing, they are blocking us, they are stopping us from doing what we are supposed to do, we shall go there, we shall reach out to our people whenever an opportunity avails itself. These elections are electoral commission declares. These elections are also about mobilizing our people and making the people understand. We know now that the people of Omoro know what kind of regime they live under, because they saw firsthand the level of deployment of all manner of people in that area. So if the regime thought that by doing what they are doing, we are going to give up, no, we are not going to give up. But secondly, and this is the message to our people, every regime that has fallen had its the reason why it fell. You know, I've been telling people that this election that we are going for will be the Waterloo of Museveni. So, let them continue doing this, joking with the people of Uganda. One of these days, they are going to touch a button which they will not be able to reverse. That one we know. So that is why we are not going to give up. We shall continue going there and showing the people of Uganda what is happening, well knowing that every regime that has fallen has done so many things and people have continued to put up with it, to resist it in some cases and all that, but they always have a button which they touch, and that causes becomes the Waterloo. Twebaza nnyo abamawulire okujja leero tubayise kwogera ku nsonga ssatu zokka. Ekisooka twali mu Omoro mu kalulu, mwenna mukimanyi bulungi nnyo. Twagala kwogera ku nsonga z'Omoro, twogere ku miwendo gy'ebintu oba ebbeeyi y'ebintu eyeegalamye n'ensonga endala ki bye tukola ffe nga NUP ogenda mu maaso n'okuzimba maanyi. Ebikyali Omoro tekaali kalulu, era ffe ekyatutwalayo okugezaako okukunga abantu baffe eyo. Mujjukire bulungi nnyo nti abakolera Museveni baali bagambye nti NUP tesobola kugenda beyond Kaluma tesobola kusukawo ne tugenda mu Northern Uganda oba mu mambuka ga Uganda. Naye twagendayo abantu ne batwaniriza mu ssanyu nga bwe mwalaba. Ne tukola campaigns, abantu baffe nga gye bali solid. Era lukimu bwe yakiraba nti tebasobola kuwangula Omoro, ne basalawo okukola bye bakola e Kayunga n'awalala ne bye bakola mu kalulu aka president. Era ne batandikira okugulira abantu baffe abaagwa ennyo ab'Omoro, ne batandika okubawa sabuuni, omunnyo, sukaali n'ebirala. Baali balowooza nti tetugenda kukuuma kalulu. Ebyembi Yabakama yanansinga nti obululu oba materials z'okozesa kulonda bali bagenda zitwala bazitambuza ku ssaawa 9 ez'ekiro. Naffe ne tugamba abantu baffe kabatambule nga bukyali. Era ssaawa 10 ez'okumakya ssaawa 9 abantu baffe baali already batandise okutambula. Ffe bwe twagendera ku polling stations by ssaawa 11:12 nga aba agent baffe gye bali ready kukuuma kalulu. Lukimu n'esalawo okukola ki? Ne batandika okukwata ba agent baffe abo ne supervisors. Era ku nkomerero ng'abantu abawera ddala 6 bakwatiddwa. Era bonna abasinga ne babalolizinga ku bond akawungezaako ne bateekako ebisango inciting violence, voter bribery n'ebirala ebitaliimu makulu. Ne bagenda mu maaso n'okubribinga abakolera akakiiko k'ebyokulonda oba bayita ba presiding officer, ne baintimidating abantu baffe, era ne betwogera tebanatuwa tally sheet. Ffe abaali Omoro tukimanyi bulungi nnyo nti abantu abalonda tebaawera na 6. Naye ne baleeta results nti yawangula alina 1,400. Nobabuuza baani abalala balonda okuweza omuwendo ogwo gwe mutulaze. Era balina n'okujja abantu mu disitulikiti ez'enjawulo Lira n'awalala okusobola okujja okulonda mu kalulu ako. Byonna byonna bye baabikola, ba RDC mu mambuka bonna baali Omoro, emmotoka mwaziraba ezaali tezirina number plates n'ebirala bwe bityo. Tukimanyi bulungi nnyo nti Museveni n'abantu be baali bagamba nti balina obuwagizi bungi nnyo mu Northern Uganda. Naye kati ensi yonna ekiraba nti obwo buwagizi boogerako byanswa tebuliiyo, bya bulimba. Era twabachallenginga nti akalulu bwe muba mwekakasa nti mulina amaanyi, muorganizinga akalulu akali free and fair, mulabe NUP kyegenda okubakola. Kakati tumanyi bulungi nnyo nti ekigendererwa kyabwe ekyokola bino byonna kyatutamisa akalulu oba otutamya bino ebyokulonda. Amawulire amabi ge tulina gye bali, tujja kugenda mu maaso n'okukunga abantu baffe. Akalulu oba activity kyonna eriyo, kubanga akalulu tetugendayo just okulangirirwa, tugendayo n'okumobilizinga abantu baffe. Kati abantu b'Omoro bamanyi lukimu ki gye bali living under. Oba oli abamu baali balowooza nti tuli mu demokrasiya oba kiki. Naye kati abantu ba Omoro n'aba Northern Uganda generally kati bonna bategedde kiki kye tulina, era tumanyi nti olwo lunaku bannayuganda bonna bwe bavaayo ne bagamba tugenda kwejjako ekibambulira ky'abantu bano, n'ab'Omoro bagenda kwenyigiramu kubanga kati bategeera bulungi nnyo lugimu ki eri mu Uganda. N'abantu obutavaayo baali batono nnyo n'abalonda kubanga baali batubuuza katugende tulonde mu kiiko ng'abantu amagye gatwetolodde n'ebirala bwe bityo. Ekisembayo tulina akalulu k'abakyala akabindabinda naye akunga activities tusaba abantu baffe mwenyigire mu nkola zaffe zino mu nteekateeka zaffe. Tumanyi bulungi nnyo nti buno obululu bwe tugendamu pulezidenti waffe nga bw'azze abagamba Museveni alinga anyiga amapeesa ag'enjawulo ng'anoonya epeesa erigenda mutwala oba oli awo epeesa erigenda mutwala ke kalulu akabbe mu disitulikiti emu oba endala. So ffe tugende mu maaso nga tukunga nga tukola bye tulina okukola oba oli awo bajja kakwatamu ku mulundi ogumu bakyasobola ng'ensi yonna yonna evudire negamba ekimala kimala. Ebirala kansabe bakulembeze banange baffe baba babyogerako. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala. People power, our power, our power, people power.
Let me invite Mama Jole to come and also you will invite Mama Zafrika, who will invite
People power,
Our power.
people power,
Our power.
people power.
Our power.
Muchiramani. Hey, Muchiramani. Our guest this afternoon, the leader of opposition in Parliament and VP Central Region, my colleague, VP Northern Uganda, the Secretary General, all of you leaders of NUP in your various capacities, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the press. For us in Western Uganda, I don't know if any of you members of the press is on UBC West. There is a radio Uganda called UBC West, and they present all this information. I don't know if any of you comes from there, but if not, I'd like to request the SG that next time we invite the press, let someone from there be there so that the people can also hear from us. The three topics we are supposed to talk about, I happen to have been an eyewitness. I personally went to Omoro as a member of the National Consultative Forum, therefore an observer, independent observer. I moved around with other members from other parties and members of the Electoral Commission. Therefore, I am not going to disclose what I saw. But that doesn't mean that inside me, even when I was wearing that hat and that coat, labeled observer, that I was not a member of NUP and a VP for Western Region. So I had my eyes open. We are still coming up with a very sad report. You can deduce from there what that means. I saw what happened, and I believe that since the National Consultative Forum works closely with the Electoral Commission, our report will have an impact next time. But it was no good at all. It wasn't good at all. Yeah, I saw our leaders in prison. I saw them being crumpled somewhere because they could not speak the language. And I called our lawyers to intervene. I did that, and I thank God that most of them were released after a few interrogations here and there. Of course, the prices. I come from Barara. I live in Barara, and I'm in charge of the whole of Western Uganda. Now, I was putting fuel for 250 to come to Kampala and drive me back. You know, you cannot know that prices have gone up until you go to the supermarket, until you go to the fuel pump, until your child is going back to school. I have seen people, you know what is ironical? in Uganda is that most people think that things are okay in Western Uganda because the dictator comes from there. But I want to categorically say today that things are worse even in Western Uganda. We are dying alive. We have actually the Banyankore, the Bachiga, those people from Soro, we are worse than the people of Omoro. Mr. Secretary General, they are people. In fact, if you go to the schools, you'll get the shock of your life. And yet schools are being constructed in the nearby countries. We have seen schools being constructed in Tanzania. We see roads being built in Congo. And yet there are no roads in Uganda. Even in Western Uganda, there is only one Kabuta road named after the ancestor of the father of the dictator. Only one road from Muriantonda and it goes that side. But all these other areas, I want to tell you people of Uganda that things are bad and we are being pushed to the wall, but I believe that one day, we shall all get up and say no. And that day is soon. I believe that you believe that. Our mission. I joined the NUP as an opposition party with a mission to remove the dictator. I want to end by saying that all of you Ugandans have a very big role to play. I know there are many people out there who are eating from the regime. Those ones will come and chase us around. They are the ones actually who are imprisoning us. They are chasing us around. They are isolating us in some of the areas. They don't want to talk to us. But I know there are many more who are suffering, who are actually, the yoke is too heavy. And that reminds me about what is happening about the birthdays I see around. You know, in the Bible, there was a king who used to mistreat the children of Israel. And when he was removed, his child, his son, took over. So the man of God went to that person, to the new king, to ask him for a favor. And the man of God said, the son said, that my father mistreated, gave you 20 strokes of cane, me I am going to give you 200. In other words, I'm going to increase your yoke. So I want to warn Ugandans about this that I see happening. I even saw Banyankore in Indonesia also celebrating, and I was like, hey, you don't know what is coming for you. You have been buying soap at 10,000, you are going to buy it at 100,000. In other words, the yoke of Ugandans is increasing daily by daily because of what is happening, the level of expenditure, careless expenditure, I don't care attitude. You know, this adamance of some people of Ugandans who think that they are leading us. So I want to end by calling upon Ugandans. All get up and join us. Get up and join us. There is one small brick you can put in the struggle will certainly remove the dictator. I want to say that sooner or later, if all of you come, we shall remove the dictator. Kunga Uganda, Kunga, Kunga Ankore, Kunga, Bunyoro Kunga, Kunga, people power, our power. Stand up and sing with me in Nyankore. And I want each one of you in your language. Orgamba Kurrahu, when the struggle is over. Orgamba Kurrajirechi, Kurrahu. 1, 2, 3. Orgamba Kurrawe, Tuyashware Chirunga, Tuyashware Chirunga, Tuyashware Chirunga, Orgamba Kurrawe, Tuyashware Chirunga, Tushele Womu Uganda. Go and do it in your language and teach your people out there. Without wasting time, my sister, please come and talk Luba. Thank you very much. People power, our power. People power, our power. Our power, people power. Kunga Omoro Kunga. Kunga. Kunga NUP.
NUP kunga. Kunga Uganda kunga. Amina. The Right Honorable Lubanga here present, ably representing our beloved de facto and de jure President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Robert Benjamin. The Right Honorable Secretary General Odur Lewis. My beloved Sister, Your Excellency Joy Mujisha Atim, and all you gallant, peace-loving, fearless people power activists and the foot soldiers, I greet you all, including the press here present, making us to continue to be able to be visible. On behalf of the people of Northern Uganda, from West Nile to Karamoja and beyond, we want to congratulate each one of you who was present with us physically, who was present with us online in prayers, and we have special people like Juliet who watched us from the US and was able to continue to deliver. What you see in that box is a heavy-duty wheelchair. This lady, a supporter of NUP in diaspora, watched live from Sky Soldier. Sky Soldier, can you please stand up for recognition? People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. NUP. And one of our foot soldiers, Inopil, who moved with us, is a person with disability, crawling down, but he's a very strong people power movement supporter, and he is called Okita Dennis Oswere. So we were able to have that heavy duty wheelchair delivered as a sign of our commitment to deliver a new Uganda. Right now, Kita is a very, very committedly happy person following us. I wanted to report that. In terms of Omoro, yes, we won. I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate Lubanga Kene, who was physically there. I saw you dancing, thinking up and down. And what did that mean? We totally demystified that narrative that we were not supposed to cross the Karuma. We demystified it. We did not only demystify it, we danced with the people because that is what the people wanted. Congratulations. I remember in Achet, when, yes, one of the, during our campaigns, day 7, where at around 6 o'clock, the trigger-happy partial police came to try and disrupt us. I remember one woman coming, no. This other guy was campaigning here until midnight. You people are not going anywhere until we hear from you. And after all, the police, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we shall divide. A woman. And to date, in fact, she's called Achan. That is the level at which people got resilient to express, to associate by choice. Kunga Omoro Kunga. Yes, reflections of Omoro. We have solidarity. And also our commitment is we will continue to organize and kunga. We are not giving up. We won. I want to congratulate everybody who participated. I want to congratulate our president who was denied and chased away day one. I want to congratulate him. What his presence, even unannounced, Pete, was sensational. You cannot even write about it. You just have to experience it. Sensational. And he was there for less than 5 hours. As we were going to Gulu, and he was to return because they had commitments. Even despite our foot soldiers, in fact, may their souls rest in eternal peace. those who are coming in solidarity, who passed on, our president and the team braved that grieving. And when they were going to be with us for 3 days, I get a call. These people have been blocked from entering. Gulu, what an illegal act by the police and military. The constitution was abrogated. The team was blocked. They couldn't enter. Gulu, so we agreed they should come back to Kampala. It was at night, and these people are capable of doing anything in pressing their panic buttons. So I congratulate you. What are the reflections? The determination exhibited by one picture, the Secretary General, with a piece of pen in solidarity. I don't know how many of you have seen that. I'm almost putting it as my Facebook. You know, that it spoke volumes. It spoke volumes, and many people, in fact, it is going to be printed and it will be on our hall of fame as a reminder of where we are coming from and how we delivered. So we're just going to build on these steps. The solidarity of each one of you, the team from Kamwokya. Thank you so much. Afo Mate, you were there with us for the whole week. Can you stand up? They arrived. They just arrived. Mama, we are here. And did a fantastic job. The team of the flag bearers from Kamwokya to West Nile, Teso came. That is the eastern region, led by Asio and the team, and they were deep on the day of elections. The honorable members of parliament, what can I say? What can I say? Thank you so much. That is something we need to not only document, but to replicate in the whole of Uganda. People leaving their comfort zones, their safety and security, putting everything on the line to make sure we were visible and were present. I condemn, on behalf of the people of northern Uganda, some paid up women in Lalogi who were screaming, paid up, who were screaming in retaliation. As my Lord Jesus Christ himself said, may we forgive them because they did not know what they were doing. For sure. But I have the clips and we'll take that up. Because it is linked with the commodity prices. The 10,000, the 30,000 they were given to scream. In fact, they even did not look like they were coming from the local. Those were people who just came on that day. Or were hired. They were hired to do that. But of course, it didn't succeed. We remained calm and we stayed on. Commodity prices have skyrocketed. For us, we touched poverty, the face of it. It is, I remember, it's still in my mind when our SG's car and they got out the t-shirts. They scrambled for the t-shirt. So I asked one person, please, can't you sacrifice this? Said, but this is all I have. This is all I have. You ask them, why are you wearing the yellow? We are wearing because we don't have clothes. But we would want to have the red. Poverty has reached unprecedented levels. Commodity prices have gone too high. And history has it that when the basic items are denied, human beings will rise up and reclaim their dignity. Because we have been totally driven beyond the human dignity. We condemn this and would like therefore to say that we as the National Unity Platform Party, we will continue to organize we will continue to carry out our activities, aware of the risks, because it is our right and a duty, and we owe it. We owe it to Ugandans all over. We owe it as a duty of care. So we are not going to relent. Yes, we have a number of activities, including the women elections. For us, it is an opportunity to associate. For us, it is an opportunity to reawaken. And for us, it is an opportunity to shine light on the aspirations of the people of Uganda, longing to be liberated, longing to reach the new Uganda. And we know we are reaching the new Uganda with our president and with all of you here present. Definitely, we are going to deliver on that commitment. So, I want to thank you all. I want to encourage all of you, reach out in different ways. I will be leaving to go back to northern Uganda. I thank the SG, they have every paid for us our office, and we have also created a very solid team, mobilization and rapid response. I want to thank all of them, especially those who even have the scars of the day of nomination, as we drive the forces that be to continue to press even worse panic buttons, such that we will all deliver the new Uganda. So I want to thank all of you. I speak this, seeing indeed new Uganda delivery, it is very possible, and when I am still alive, I feel it, I touch it, I see it. I say all this believing in the new Uganda. Kunga! Northern Uganda, Kunga!
Kunga!
Kunga, Kampala, Kunga!
Kunga!
Kunga, West Nile, Kunga!
Kunga!
Kunga, Karamoja, Kunga!
Kunga!
Kunga, Marara, Kunga!
Kunga!
Thank you. And on that note, I would like, with that energy, with that reality, with that power, with that commitment, to invite the Right Honorable Matthias Mpuga Lubanga.
People power,
Our power!
people power.
Our power!
NUP
Everywhere!
in a choice. NUP,
Kawen!
NUP,
Kawen!
Kawen.
NUP!
You don't know it. Thank you so much, my dear sister, Deputy President Northern Uganda, Deputy President Western, the Secretary General, the party spokesperson, whom I know as in a long meeting squeezing some of the abusers of power in this fair land. The Deputy spokesperson, to you NUP team members and players at various levels, friends from the media, I'm so humbled to be here on behalf of the President, speak to you in his absence, headline this presser. Speaks to three things, as mentioned by the SG. First of all, I would like to appreciate Ugandans that follow, that question, that challenge every issue that arises in our midst, including challenging the reason why we live. If we live for nothing, we have no business to live. If you have never found reason to fight for, you have no reason to live actually. And as NUP, we have defined the reason to be NUP. That's what we wake up to do every day. NUP
Everywhere!
NUP
Everywhere!
and everywhere.
NUP!
Thank you. Friends, I have very, very fond memories of Omoro. I was in Omoro for 4 days. I touched, I felt, I breathed, I saw
and I will live till tales. I can tell you, NUP is everywhere.
Yes.
There's no question about it. And for today, I'll do two things. Initially, to congratulate most heartily the people of Omoro for not yielding to intimidation, for accepting to embrace us, to receive us. I moved throughout Omoro, who were well received. Forget the naysayers who wanted to challenge us to prove our existence in Omoro. I think that is not a question anymore. We filled the forms, we passed the exam. Yes. We're in Omoro and everywhere. If you want to know how we exist in Omoro, go to Teni Chadondo and ask them why they were moving in the uppers throughout Omoro. Why they were moving with the bullion vans to buy support. Why they were arresting our agents and supervisors throughout Omoro. And today, I want to be clear that Omoro is a crime scene. For the criminality that took place throughout Omoro, that place is a crime scene. And for the young man who was purportedly elected, he's a witness in that criminality. He has nowhere to hide. You see, the lawyers will tell you the levels of participation in crime. You are either an accomplice, you are an abettor, or actually the participant in the crime. So Omoro is a crime scene. Bribery, torture, brutalization of citizens, and outright stealing. And I was expecting by today that what has remained of the EC would have expressed the existence to the country, whether they should exist in a name and in a physique. I'll tell you that I interacted with the ECTR person in Omoro. We had moved together for a distance. And I was asking whether he was aware of what is going on. And I can prove you he was clueless. The results were declared by a militia group. And the EC was under obligation to be around. We left Omoro with our integrity intact. We know what the people of Omoro think about NUP. And for Ugandans out there, Omoro and other places coming, I know there'll be by-election in Soroti in the coming weeks. Yes. And the NUP everywhere will be right there. Like this. I would like to challenge citizens out there. You see, the money spent by the regime in Omoro can transform Omoro into a centralized district. But it was doled out for people to go and take a John, to simply go and waste away, but they cannot spend that money in Omoro city centers or schools and other places that need the roads that are in their state. I would like to invite citizens to begin asking also the hard question whether we can still afford the transaction cost of keeping an immoral regime that would rather keep around by bribery, by intimidation, and all forms of criminality. So we are not worried as NUP. People are asking, as NUP, are we frustrated? Can I tell you, we are energized. Yes. We are encouraged. That change is not only on the horizon, but actually people want change are there. For the leaders, the political leaders in northern Uganda, I want to tell you that you are responsible for the problem there. Because it does seem that some of the political leaders prefer their people in that kind of condition, so that they can bribe them and eat on their behalf. But I'm glad that we were well received, and NUP is actually in charge of Omoro. If NRM was in charge, we wouldn't have seen bribery unprecedented, and the goons and the mafias and the dracos taking over the constituency to declare results. And for the gentleman who was in charge of police in Omoro, a one Namuoza. Well, he needs our sympathies. I don't know that he wakes up in a uniform and he tells family that he's going to work, that he's actually a serious person. That same Namuoza was seen in Kayunga. So he's not a professional vote thief. That's his duty. So I want to tell people, the world, that wherever you see Namuoza, is a thief. He's an accomplice in the criminality that took place in Omoro. He was involved directly in arresting illegally our members. He was involved, and we are going to take him on as an individual. For the crime scene that we have declared in Omoro, he is part of the criminal gang that was operating in Omoro. And we are going to go for him as an individual. But all said and done, we are encouraged as NUP that we are everywhere. And we are going to be sharing the outcomes of Omoro with other friends in the change-seeking forces for lessons and activity forward. Otherwise, if the tyrant believe that they are going to do this and discourage us, we encourage it. We shall escort them to where they want to go until they give up on their criminality. Secondly, we issued a statement as NUP in Parliament, because whatever we do in Parliament, we do it on behalf of the party. We issued a statement relating to the runaway prices of essential goods in the country. And as a party, we still stand by that statement. That actually the regime has let down the country, that the regime has the space to do something about high taxation, to do something about the price and availability of petroleum and petroleum products, that the regime can tone down its appetite. Take a simple example. The president's office, not office, State House, has a budget of 677 billion. KCCA has a budget of 300 billion. Just take that simple comparison. That State House, with Mr. Museveni and his hangers on, and Butulikas have a budget of 677 billion. KCCA, for infrastructure, for wages, for the drainage channels, for sanitation, has 300 billion. So are we able to afford the cost of keeping Mr. Museveni in State House? That's the question all of us must answer. And it's very simple. The taxes are not for service delivery, are for consumption. So if you feel that the buck stops with Mr. Museveni, don't wait for NUP to declare what next. Don't wait for Mr. Bestie to declare. Say, now that Mr. Bestie is doing this, so what are you doing? So before you say that, you who is questioning, what are you doing? Are you happy? Don't wait for Tiago to do anything. Do it yourself. Tiago is a leader. Equally, you are a leader in your own capacity because you had a family that is constrained. You want to invite every citizen to be alive. It's a matter of time. If you want change tomorrow, it will happen tomorrow. I want to invite you to participate in every activity that will hasten, will quicken a new Uganda. That's what we're inviting you into. Any activity that will quicken the departure of Mr. Museveni and his hangers on. Any activity that will quicken Ugandans getting rid of this couple that has a huge appetite that's not about to go away in a few days. And all of us as members of parliament are equally concerned about what we can do to our people. If ask the Honorable Senyoni that what is there for Nakawa in the next financial year? Nothing, because somebody with a big appetite has taken all the money. The money in Congo, the money everywhere, but the money nowhere where people are. So I want to invite you as NUP to work with us, to work with everybody who wants change. It's not only NUP that wants change yesterday. Every citizen wants change. Omoro wanted to change. They were never allowed to show the change they wanted. Citizens want to invite you to participate. Question as you participate. All of us have a duty, and that duty must be played by everyone who feels affected
who feels offended, who feels cheated by the goings on in the country. Other than that, friends, I want to thank the party and the Secretariat for the job of mobilizing that is going on through Kunga and other avenues. Kunga Uganda, Kunga.
Kunga.
Kunga Omoro, Kunga.
Kunga.
Teso, Kunga.
Kunga.
We can do this together. Nobody in their individual capacity is going to change Uganda alone. And others are going to be witnessing and enjoying a show. There's no show going on in Uganda. It's a struggle and all of us are part of this struggle. That's the invitation we are making as a party for Uganda today and tomorrow. I want to thank you so much for being there. The media was there. And of course, lastly, I'd like to invite you to rise and we offer our memories to friends that perished on the way to Omoro to defend the integrity of the people of Omoro. Can we rise for a minute in their memory? May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Amen.
Can I hand over the microphone to... I was speaking as Rubanga Kene. Let me speak now as there's improvement. Twagala okutwala omukisa guno nga NUP okusooka njala kwebaza ekitebe kuteekateeka twogerako eri eggwanga bwe kyatuva Omoro mu kwandibadde okulonda okwaliyo okwakufa katemba mu byonna twagala okuyozaayoza abantu b'Omoro abeewaayo ne bagumirira mbeera yonna eyali mu kitundu kyabwe okubatyoboola okubajooga n'okubayisaamu amaaso nga bwe mwakulawo mwenna abaaliyo. Ngera okulisayo NUP team eyagumira byonna ebyali mu kitundu ekyo, kibooko, okusuulibwa mu makomera na byonna okusobola okutuusa ekibiina kyaffe eri abantu n'otuusa obubaka bwaffe eri abantu naye n'okulwanira ekitiibwa ky'abantu b'Omoro abali beetaaga obukulembeze. Ngera kutegeeza bannayuganda bonna ekitundu ky'Omoro kitwalanga ekitundu ekyazzibwako omusango era ffena gye tulina okugoberera. Muto waffe Olanya agamba nti yalondebwa y'omu ku bajulizi ku bikolwa ebyakolebwa Omoro, y'omu ku baabyetabamu, y'omu ku baayiwamu amazzi ne bigenda mu maaso, era kyayita obuwanguzi atambule ng'omutwe agusulise wansi watalina gwe yawangula, yeewangula yekka. Baagala okutegeeza bannayuganda nti ng'ekibiina ekito eky'omwaka ogumu ekya NUP twenyumiriza bwe twatuwako Omoro. Akalimbi akaaliwo nti NUP teri Omoro, oba oliawo baali balowooza nti ogiseka ku twaka n'ogitwalayo, oba ogisiba ku kagaali n'ogivuga n'ogitwalayo. Omutima gwa NUP twagusangayo, twaguleseeyo era gukyatojjera mu kitundu ekya Omoro, nga tegugenda kuvaayo. Twakusaba bannayuganda abaagala enkyukakyuka. Enkyukakyuka temuzirekera basibye ettaayi ne boogera ku luzindaalo. Buli muntu azeetabemu. Ebyali Omoro twesunga bannaffe abaali mu kakiiko k'ebyokulonda abalekawo omulimu, abali batambula twabasanga ng'abamu wansi w'emiti emmotoka za kituufu ebyokulonda, abali mutaali mu kunywa mwenge nga bali mu kulya mbizzi njokerere mu kitundu ekyo. Era tebakola mulimu gwabwe. Naye nga wali emmotoka z'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda okuva buli kitundu kya ggwanga nga gye ziri Omoro, naye nga bali mu miti bali mu kulonda bikome. Era bawaayo obuvunaanyizibwa bwabwe ne babukwasa ekibijja ky'abayaayi, era be beerangirira. Tulinze musajja mukulu Byabakama bw'abanga akyaliyo ng'akyalina embavu ezimirira mu bantu n'agamba lyakulira bitooka ebyokulonda, ajja atubuulira naye bye yalaba Omoro yaliyo oba yali atabalisikire, naye tumulindiridde atubuulire. Nga NUP era tulindiridde bannaffe abaaliyo nga balondoola ebyokulonda, twali nabo, abaaliyo Union twali nabo, tulinze emboozi yaabwe bye baalaba okuva Omoro. Mu byonna tetujja kulekera awo kutambula buli kitundu kya Uganda owali ensonga yonna ey'obukulembeze okunga eggwanga lya Uganda ne bannayuganda bonna okubyetabamu nga enteekateeka n'emmanduso ey'enkyukakyuka. Kikyo tutwala essoloti ne tuteera byonna wanaabeera okulonda mu mbeera yonna. Mwami Museveni ne bannammwe olugendo lwe mutambudde tujja kubawerekera mpaka lunaava mu kkubo ekyambudde mu kkubo ettuufu. Tetujja kubalekera kintu kyonna kyammwe mwekka. Uganda yaffe si yammwe, kibanja kyammwe. Ensonga ey'okubiri, twagala okutegeeza bannayuganda nti ensonga eri mu ddira y'ebbeeyi y'ebintu okulinnya si nsonga ya bibiina byabufuzi, nsonga ya buli munnayuganda awulira ng'akwatibwako. Nga NUP twasinzira mu paalamenti ne tuyisa ekiwandiiko ekitongole ekikwata bwe tuyimiridde ku nsonga zino. Naye twagala okutegeeza eggwanga singa ffe twali mu buyinza ekyokukola tukimanyi era twakyogerako. Era twewuunya lwaki mukyalowooza nti abantu bano bakyalina obusobozi okukyusa embeera yammwe okujja okwongera okwonooneka. Ebisolo ebisasse wansi, essente zituusa mu mbalirira ez'okulya obuli nga tezikendedde, twali asubira bbeeyi ya bintu kukka. Mwami Museveni yatugamba muntu ayongezeeyo akatuli ku musipi gwe, ogwe ye n'agukendeeza bukendeeza. N'olwekyo bannayuganda baagala Uganda empya. Omukisa weeguli okubuuza ebibuuzo naye n'ebikolwa nga kwebiri. Temulinda Kyagulanyi, temulinda Besigye, byonna gye muli Kyagulanyi ayina amaaso abiri naawe olina abiri. Mukulembeze yakuwulira w'ayimiridde, tambula ng'omukulembeze bw'agamba. Bw'ona olinda Kyagulanyi ajja konkone ku lugiro aletewo sukaali ne sabbuuni, kijja kuba sitweyambye. Buli muntu waali asitukiremu, buli muntu waali akole kyasobola okukola. Oba oli munnaddiini, oba oli musawo wa kinnansi, oba oli mutembeeyi, n'owa boodabooda ali wabweru eyo, ojja tuuka ekiseera nga booda tekyasoboka. Kubanga oba oyagala siteegi ya mutwalo, omusabaza anaazijjawa. So tusaba buli munnayuganda ali waali ng'embeera eno emukutteko, asinzire waali, akolesa amateeka kyamugamba, obuvunaanyizibwa bwa munnansi, duties of a citizen, etubabanja. Twagala okubeebaza bannayuganda mwenna okugoberera n'okwongera okutegeera nti bannaffe bano baakoma. Naye gavumenti ya Mobutu yali yagwa okumala emyaka mingi nga tewali agisindika. Mutunule ku mbeera eriwo, kubanga gavumenti eneesuula yokka ntona kyemukozeewo. Ekyo nkibalekedde. Gavumenti ya Mobutu yali yaliibwadde enkuyege naye ng'ekyayimiridde. Ndoza ne bwenteme. Njala kwebaza mwebale kumpuliriza.
Omanyi abantu ba professionals babeera philosophy. Akati bw'oba toyagala kuba interpretinga mu bwangu kiyinza okuwangaaza ennyo, naye ssebo ne bw'otema. Kakati ngenda kuwaayo omukisa gw'ebibuuzo nga 3. Wandera njakibuuza mu lusoga.
Kankibuuze mu lusoga.
Kasota buuza bya busoga.
No, it's a national issue. This goes to really, the leadership of this party. I know there has been contest about the election in Omoro. As a party, we expect that you have quite some bit of evidence to prove your stand. If you think you won the election, could we have, as the media, look at the year forms, for instance, that you might have collected, or the figures that you have compiled, and what percentage you people won against the other side?
Which media house? Your name is? Yes, Mr.
I have 2 questions. Regarding what you are asking, I'm wondering, you could be having even videos, not just declaration forms of what president has talking about. You could share, we have videos of the covered number plates, but we don't have videos of people being bright. Then, if you have those videos, for me it is an evidence that can actually prove and that is a legal election. Then it is what that declares that the election was actually legal and you going to court. Then two, Honorable the leader of opposition says they are going to take on the police officer, the gentleman, the name was as an individual. What do you mean? Please explain.
Thank you very much. You want us to explain what we mean by taking on people with the individual liability? I think he will give you that answer. Let me invite Michael C. to come and say something as he replies to some of those questions, and then the legal proposition probably will come and there is one about Omoro and evidence. I know you will find the way. One, it's all about Omoro and evidence and prosecution. I think it was towards the lead of the opposition. I think, are those all the questions? Yes, sir.
Amanya gange nze Mukalu Muhammad nga ni mukozi wa Baba TV Kampala branch. Olunaku lw'ekyo twageze tukwatako story ya mukulu Moses Kibalama ne Tugume ng'agezaako tugamba nti ekibiina kya NUP tekikali mu mikono gyamwe kati nga bageze okuba nti bakitwala naye twayogeddeko ne mukulu Ssennyonyi ku ssimu n'agezaako okutunnyonnyola kati tubali twagala akitubuulire kati mu video ku nsonga ezo.
Kakati sebo bina kulinde kusimu tiwakika yakala byawano katita I've got to just reiterate what I told the gentleman and my senior colleague. We'll add to that. You see, maybe first the Omoro issue. Again, I'll just say little. The law will elucidate because he was commandeering our troops in Omoro, and of course the SG will give you a bit more information. But we are compiling all the necessary happenings and evidence because it's important to have these things on record. You know, we saw the videos of vehicles with concealed number plates. We saw the arrest of almost all of our agents the night before, and others were picked from the polling stations. And that meant that these guys would do whatever it is that they wanted to do, because once the agents are taken away, you know, they will do whatever it is that they want to do. So all of this we are compiling. Now somebody might ask, you're compiling, are you taking it to court? Let's have the records. It's important for starters to have the records. You know, when things are on record, they can be used at any one time. So that's important. And so we have some of that. We are still compiling a lot more of it. And the country will continuously know exactly what happened. It's something we did with Kayunga, because we compiled all the records. And we showed the world what exactly happened in Kayunga. So it's important. And my colleagues will add to that. Now, the question of Mr. Kibalama and team, we are a serious political party, duly registered. We had a delegates conference where new leadership was elected. Leadership changes once in 5 years at a delegates conference. The next delegates conference is going to be in 2025. So anybody that has the interest in whatever position is free to come as a member of the party and express interest in whichever position they are interested in. So we don't think we should begin going back and forth, every Tom, Dick and Harry jumping up and saying this or the other, you know. And even after the delegates conference, there are people who went to court, and court settled this matter. The leadership of NUP and everything to go with that, court pronounced itself on that. So we don't even think it's important to keep replying to every Tom, Dick and Harry who is either planted by the state, now say this, now try and disorganize NUP and that kind of thing. Because this is the intention of the state is to derail us, to cut our speed. So that now our focus goes into responding to all these people all the time. No. We think that we should measure on measures and minor on minors. Ensonga y'Omoro waiso jayogeddeko of course wekitiibwa Lop ajja kwongera kugitaanya kubanga yadumira amagye gaffe mu Omoro. Naye ng'ekibiina tukyeyongera okuŋŋaanya byonna ebyali Omoro. Era mwabiraba mwalaba obutambi emmotoka nga zirawuna mu kiro n'emisana nga namba plate z'emmotoka zino bazikwese bazibijjiridde bataddeko obuveera bataddeko ebipapula. Olinayo newewuunya bw'obanga kyokola kituufu lwaki oba okweja ennamba y'emmotoka. Era mwalaba n'emmotoka y'amagye eyali yeetambuza abantu bagenda okulonda oba ebajje mu disitulikiti zaawa bajje balonde, era nayo ng'ennamba yaayo ebikiddwa yafuna akabenje mwabiraba. Ate omwami olufuna akabenje abantu ne bagwa ne batuukako ne baleka awo bambe bamesize. Kuba kye yali ekola yali ekimanyi nti si kituufu. Mwalaba nti ba agency baffe babasiba babapikinganga mu kiro ne ku makya ku polling stations nga bagenda babajjawo. Kakati polling agent bw'omugjawo kitegeeza ojja kukola kyonna ky'oyagala. So obujulizi bwonna buno tuli mu bukuŋŋaanya kikulu ne tubeera nabwo ku record. Then tujja kulaga eggwanga kiki ekyaliwo nga bwe twakola mu Kayunga. Kirungi kikulu bannayuganda okutegeera kubanga babeerawo bali abagamba nti ffe twawangula era batulangirira babalangirira mu ngeri ki ebyaliyo. So kikulu bannayuganda okutegeera ki ekyali Omoro era tujja sigala nga tubibalaga byonna nga bwe byaliyo. Ensonga ey'abannaffe mukulu Kibalama n'abalala betuwulira, obukulembeze bw'ekibiina ki National Unity Platform bukyuka omulundi gumu mu myaka 5. Delegates Conference, twalina Delegates Conference, obukulembeze ne bukyuka. Oyo yenna eyeegwanyiza ekifo kyonna mu National Unity Platform ajja kujja mu Delegates Conference nga 2025 yeegwanyiza ekifo kyonna ky'ayagala, amateeka gaffe bwe gagamba. So era ffe tulaba nti tekyetaagisa na kuddaawo ate kaakati ono abuuse ayogedde kino tuddemu kuddamu abo. Tekyetaagisiza ddala. Ensonga ezitalina makulu tetwagala ziwa nnyo makulu. Obukulembeze bwa NUP bumanyikiddwa. Waliwo abaali balina okwemulugunya ne bagenda mu kooti neewe ensala yaayo ku nsonga eno. Baani abakulembera NUP era ne bagala tugende mu maaso. So kakati bano abaagala otusere bye tusala sipiidi oba gavumenti ebateekamu ssente kakati aba NUP mugezeko bakyankalanya kuba kye baagala okukola. Tudde ku ebyo ensonga endala enkulu ez'enkizo tuzibeeko, tudde ku ebyo. Tetugamba ensonga ezitalina makulu tetujja kuziwa makulu. Misaisi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable. Yeah, I'll just add very quickly on that issue. It's not really serious. And now some of the DR forms is available. Aye, kati wowe na DR forms zino, oba wetaaga kye bayita tally sheet. Bakuwe bo bye ba announcing oba bye balangirira. Bitambula bitya kubanga ebyakayunga tally sheet. Njukira amateeka gagamba nti tally sheet bali tokikuweera ku announcement wenyini bamala ku announcing results bakuwa tally sheet. Naye kati kana kakiiko ka byabakama tekakyawa tally sheet kubanga baba bamanyi bulungi nnyo nti ne banawusize si bituufu. So bagamba kati tusooke tuddeyo ne bakuukinga figures. Kati bo basooka ne banawusinga toto ne balyoka baddayo okugezaako okulaba. Era bw'olaba ebyekayunga ku polling station ezimu ogenda kwesanga abantu abali registered okulonda mu tally sheet basingira ddala abali registered kubanga baanawusinga toto ne baddayo ne bagamba kakati tubifitinze tutya. So ffe tulina DR forms zaffe kye tulinze ye tally sheet yaabwe. Batugambe kati eno for example polling station bakiyita Balpaki. Batugambe nti ku Balpaki omwami oyo gwe balangirira olanya yajjayo bululumeka bwe buti then tuleete ddala foomu yaffe tubalage nti kye baalangirira tekisobola kuba kituufu. Naye ate n'ekirala evidence kye tulina mu DR forms zino nga bwe ŋŋambye eragira ddala nti ne bakola ballot staffing n'ebirala byonna bye baakola, voter turnout yasigala eri too low. Naye kati bo olaba byanawusinga byali way beyond what is included here. So ensonga ya omuntu abuuziza oba tugenda mu kooti, ekyo tujja kidecidinga after this process. Naye njagala n'obajukiza nti Kayunga bwe twava e Kayunga twagenda mu kooti. Omusango we Kayunga batandise okuwulira olunaku lwa jjo. Era nabo ne baddayo ne bagongezaayo up to July. So tulina challenges nyingi nnyo ne ekitongole ekiramuzi engeri ekikola ebintu. Kati abantu ba Kayunga balonda Honorable Harriet Nakwedde okuba nga ye chairperson waabwe, naye bwe twogerera tebafunye obuweereza kubako omuntu gwe baalangirira oba gwe baalonda. Ogenda mu kooti ne bamala omwaka mulambo w'emyezi 6 nga tebannatandika na kuwulira musango. Bwe batandika bakutwala mu kaso. So twesanga tulina challenge eyo ne mu judiciary. Ensonga kibalama abanange ndowooza omukulu agyogeddeko bulungi nnyo. Abantu abateetekinga serious kyanakuti abamu abamawulire ate bagala bateekinga serious. Wali baba teetekinga serious ate kuba amawulire lwaki omuteekinga serious? Bakabaki emirundi emeka leero boogera kino ekyabogera kino namwe mulina okwebereramu. So I was trying to say that you've seen we have the DR forms here. Some of the majority of them we have them now, and we are going to take them. We are going to do an analysis. We are waiting for a tally sheet. The law requires the Electoral Commission to issue a tally sheet immediately after announcing results. Unfortunately, the Miabakama Electoral Commission no longer does that. They just announce the totals and then now start going, they go to VC and try to cook up figures within the tally sheet to match what they are saying. So that is one of the challenges we have. So you have your data forms, but you always need them to come with the tally sheet so that you compare what they declared vis-a-vis what you have in the DR forms. And that's what we are waiting for. And someone asked about court processes. We have a lot of disappointment with the judiciary and the pace with which they use to hear these cases. Like the Kayunga case, which is clear-cut, they are just starting to hear it. The first hearing happened yesterday, and then the matter was adjourned up to July. And you know that's how these cases have been going. So we hope that the cases can be handled expeditiously so that the people who have elected leaders can get their representation from there. Thank you very much, and maybe we invite the law to conclude. Oh, all right.
Thank you, SG. The question was very simple, relating to what we meant by taking on Mr. Namo's. The law is very clear. Crime is person to holder, and Mr. Namo's, as a police officer, has a duty under the law protect and serve. Instead, he connived and frustrated a lawful process of an election. My brother there, Mosh, spent, I think, 7 days in Namoza's cell without charge. He's there. You can interview him. So we shall have to take on Namoza to even explain illegally detaining citizens with no charge. We shall take him on. And many other crimes of basic intent in which he participated. So we only try to highlight, I'm not here to draw charge sheet for him, but just to know that he is a criminal aligned for prosecution, both in the criminal and the civil courts.
Hello, Galuwe.
Tuliyambale ngule, olutalo ngaluwedde, tuliyambale ngule, tuliyajale
When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown.
When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown in the new Uganda.
People power,
Our power,
our power,
people power.
Asante sana.
Assalamu alaikum.